Now let's look at cutting these tenons on one set of the straight rails, or the long rails you might call them. This one is marked out. Here is the shoulder, here and here, and carried around to the top and the bottom edge. It's not on the back yet, so I'll just put it on the back. Just line up the square and strike that line with an awl. I set the square on the top edge of a rail like this, and try to always do that. And now that one, I know what that dimension is. It's about 10 inches, 10 1/4 inches. But I'm not going to use a ruler to lay out this one. This one I'm going to lay out from that one. So I've marked one tenon already, left that a little extra long. This stock is plenty long. So I line up that shoulder right with this shoulder by sitting it right on there. I want to make sure I haven't got it sitting at an angle like that, because that length would come out different than if it's running straight. So I try to be positioned right above this. Sight that down there, lean on that, and then just prick that mark right there. And that is my other shoulder. And carry that around. And across this one from the front. Now to that I have to add 1.5 inches for the other tenon. And at that stage I can cross-cut this. And I have one last thing to do. Here on the apron, if you watched me make that molded edge, you heard me say I have marked out the placement of that tenon, but it's not on the end grain yet. So I'll set this up and scribe that with the mortise gauge from the front. And you can see in this orientation, here is the flat front and the squared top edge, but that inside face is angled from having split this stock out of the oak. You can see that there. So it's always important to know where you're working from. Working with these triangular shaped pieces can sometimes be disorienting, especially when we come to cut this back shoulder. So you'll see that in a minute. And I'll do the same thing. These haven't been laid out at all. And just scribe those like that. So to cut them, I've got just a little bench hook here, trapped against the edge of the bench, and a back saw. I'm going to tilt that saw blade, tilt this spine out a bit to angle this shoulder in, so to undercut that shoulder just a little bit. And I am there out on the top edge. I can just drag the saw right through there and do it again. A little more on that side. So the back shoulders, I don't undercut. I cut them out of the joint. I'm going to cut it on this side of the line. And like I said, this is an irregular surface now, so I have to watch the tooth line of my saw. I'm not going parallel to this plane. This isn't even a plane. I'm going down to my marks, so I've got it there, just about here. So I'll just drop the handle a little like that. Same thing over here. Just about there. So when you make your stock by hand like I do, sometimes it's a different thickness here than there. So you need to not fall asleep while you're sawing those shoulders, because you can mess them up pretty easily. I'll do these two. That's there. Yeah, so now this one is pretty extreme, because I have a lot of wood to get away here, but it comes almost to the mortise gauge line there. So this is a case where, think of the tooth line as parallel to the bench top, not to the stock you're cutting. And you can see that right there where it's slicing into that pie-shaped section. Right on, just where it needs to be. So there, I'll take a second and rejig and then show you how to then knock those cheeks off. So now I trap the rail stock in this piece, often called a moccasin vise now. I call it a double screw, a double bench screw. Think of it as the ancestor to a hand screw. And I just lightly tighten that up so it'll stand reasonably still. I'm going to split these cheeks off of this. So I use this, just a bench chisel, maybe 1.5 inches wide or something. And I'll hold it in my fingertips just in my side of that line to get a taste for how this wood is splitting first. And I'm going to start over here and split it like that. Just knock the chisel a bit with the mallet. See how it splits. It's splitting fine. And now I'll go right in my mortise gauge line. Sit the chisel in that scribe and knock that down to the shoulder. You just want to be careful you don't split into the shoulder. And so it's pretty light touch. And you can flip the thing around and just turn the whole gizmo around like that. I'm looking as well at the rays on the end of the stick, those medullary rays in the oak. And they're running at a bit of an angle. Remember this tapered back to this one. If I start my split here, it's going to go into the tenon. So I'm going to start over here. And I'll try to get you a photograph to show you what that looks like. Right like that. And like that. And that's the whole thing. Let's do it again without the chatter, just see how it goes. So I'll split the other tenons and then we'll look at how to pair those and fit them into the mortises.